Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Micro Dawa. Did the Golden Age influence Leonardo da Vinci? The Renaissance, an era marked by an explosion of art, science, and intellectual discovery. At the heart of it all stood one of history's most extraordinary minds, Leonardo da Vinci. A painter, scientist, engineer, and inventor, da Vinci's work has left an indelible mark on the world. But as we explore the origins of his ideas and inventions, we must ask, did the intellectual achievements of the Islamic Golden Age, the period of scientific, mathematical, and cultural flourishing between the 8th and 14th centuries, play a role in shaping his genius? In this video, we'll examine the connections between the Islamic Golden Age and Leonardo da Vinci's work, exploring how knowledge from the Islamic world helped ignite the Renaissance, and whether it directly or indirectly influenced Leonardo's own groundbreaking discoveries. To answer that question, let's first take a step back. The Islamic Golden Age was a period that spanned roughly from the 8th to the 14th century, during which scholars in the Islamic world made monumental strides in fields like mathematics, medicine, astronomy, chemistry, and engineering. Cities like Baghdad, Cairo, and Cordoba became centers of learning, where ancient Greek, Roman, and Persian knowledge was preserved, expanded, and built upon. Scholars like Ibn al-Haytham, known as the father of optics, al-Zahrawi, the father of modern surgery, and Averroes, Ibn Rushd, a philosopher and commentator on Aristotle, all contributed to a rich tradition of scientific and philosophical discovery. Their works would go on to influence not only the Islamic world but also medieval Europe. By the 12th century, many of these texts were being translated from Arabic into Latin and Greek, making their way into the hands of European scholars. And as we approach the Renaissance in the 14th and 15th centuries, these discoveries helped spark an intellectual revolution. One of the minds that would benefit from this transmission of knowledge was, of course, Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was born in 1452, smack in the middle of the Renaissance, an era that saw the rebirth of classical learning, as well as new artistic and scientific discoveries. But despite his position at the forefront of European thought, Leonardo did not work in a vacuum. His intellectual environment was deeply connected to the scholarship that had come before him. And crucially, this included the wisdom of the Islamic Golden Age. Now, you might be wondering, how did this knowledge travel from the Islamic world to Da Vinci's Italy? The answer lies in the medieval scholastic tradition and the translation movement. Between the 12th and 14th centuries, as the works of great Islamic scholars were translated into Latin, European thinkers began to rediscover and build upon the scientific and philosophical knowledge from the Arab world. This period of intellectual exchange played a vital role in fostering the Renaissance. One of the areas where the influence of the Islamic Golden Age is most evident is in mathematics and geometry, fields that were central to Leonardo's work, both as an artist and as an engineer. During the Islamic Golden Age, scholars like al-Khwarizmi, whose name gave us the word algorithm, made tremendous advances in algebra, a field that had been largely dormant in Europe since ancient times. Al-Khwarizmi's work helped lay the foundation for modern mathematics, and his ideas were soon translated into Latin and absorbed by European scholars. These mathematical concepts were crucial to Leonardo, particularly in his use of perspective and proportions in art. Da Vinci was a master at creating depth and dimension on a two-dimensional surface, a technique rooted in geometric principles that had been refined by Islamic scholars. But it wasn't just algebra. Geometry, particularly the study of shapes and their proportions, was another area of significant influence. Islamic scholars such as Ibn al-Haytham studied optics and developed a detailed understanding of light and perspective. Their work, especially in applying geometry to the study of vision and reflection, provided a foundation for the techniques Da Vinci used in his famous paintings like The Last Supper and Mona Lisa. By understanding the geometry of light, Leonardo was able to create a sense of lifelike depth and realism, a hallmark of Renaissance art. Leonardo da Vinci was not just a great artist, he was also an avid scientist and inventor. His approach to studying the world around him was rooted in direct observation and experimentation. This scientific method, emphasizing empirical evidence and careful experimentation, was in many ways inspired by earlier scholars, particularly those from the Islamic Golden Age. Ibn al-Haytham, for example, is often referred to as the father of optics, but his contributions went beyond just the study of light. His work laid the groundwork for what we now call the scientific method, an approach based on observation, hypothesis, and experimentation. Ibn al-Haytham conducted experiments to test his theories, using controlled conditions and methods that would later be adopted by Renaissance scientists, including Leonardo. Da Vinci applied this same rigorous observational approach to his studies of anatomy, flight, and engineering, which were revolutionary for his time. In Leonardo's notebooks, we see a mind deeply engaged with questions about the natural world, from the flight of birds to the structure of the human body. His method of combining art with science, of sketching and testing his ideas, is a testament to the scientific principles that had been refined and transmitted through the Islamic intellectual tradition. Let's also not forget engineering, an area where Leonardo's genius truly shone. From designs for flying machines to complex war machines, Leonardo's inventions were ahead of their time. Many of his mechanical ideas were based on principles that had been developed and documented by earlier Islamic engineers and inventors. For example, scholars like Al-Jazari, who lived in the 12th century, wrote extensively about the design of automata and mechanical devices, many of which were driven by water or hydraulic power. His inventions included automated pumps and machines that could be used for a variety of purposes, from raising water to powering mechanical devices. Leonardo da Vinci's own designs for mechanical inventions, such as his famous flying machine, reveal a similar blend of engineering and creativity that can be traced back to the traditions of Islamic inventors. It's likely that Leonardo came into contact with these ideas either through direct exposure to translated texts or through the works of Renaissance scholars who had access to this knowledge. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content.